Counter to President Biden's repeated inauguration promise, the Dems have worked painstakingly to divide, not unite, our country, from pushing critical race theory in our schools to hawking the idea that our country is inherently racist. It's only a matter of time until the left comes after one of the most sacred institutions, our military. Exhibit A. Maryland Democratic Congressman Anthony Brown, who penned an op-ed in which he says, quote, "The current military justice system is not serving our country's higher values of justice, equity, and fairness. It has put service members of color at a disadvantage and left them subject to a commander-controlled system they do not trust." Joining us now for reaction is Army veteran Wesley Hunt, also a Texas Republican congressional candidate, who says that he believes the left will eventually start calling for the defunding of the U.S. military. Wesley, thanks for joining us tonight. Great to see you.
Happy to be here. Thank y'all for having me on.
Well, you know, I think you're not too far off. I wish I could say that I felt you were wrong about this, but I want you to hear what squad member Rashida Talib had to say recently. Let's take a listen.
We must eliminate funding for CPB, ICE, and their parent organization, DHS. Time after time, we have seen it as advocates on the ground, as human services agency on the ground, to continue to see over and over again that these agencies are inept to humanely guiding migrants through our immigration system, and they further continue to terrorize migrant communities.
Your reaction, sir?
We have seen this playbook over and over and over again. It started off by dividing our country by race in order to defund the police. And then now we're trying to divide our young people through critical race theory. And then now we're moving to border patrol agents. And then now we're moving to the military. It is obvious. And right now, the military is a meritocracy. It literally is one of the truest meritocracies that we have in the world. Our United States military is about performance. It is about evaluation. It is about how good of a warfighter are you, regardless of your race, religion, color, or creed. So if they could crack this code, if they could break us here to get to the point to where they make even our military divided along the lines of race, then what are we going to have left? Right. We have got to stop the bleeding.
You know, Wesley Hunt, listen, I certainly hear you on that point, but it's not just some of the leftist loons from the squad who are actually calling for defunding the military. There are some calls on the right and from some people who are pretty prominent within the America First movement. Now, I think it's primarily a reaction against some of the awful leadership in the Pentagon, and I'll give you Exhibit A here. Let's listen to General Milley, his terrible testimony.
It is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it.
So, Wesley, I have no idea, by the way, what he was talking about there. I've lived in this country as a minority my entire life. I don't know what white rage he's talking about, but here's my question to you. I don't want to cut military funding, but I do want a complete change of leadership at the Pentagon. And I think a lot of generals and a lot of admirals need to be shown the door. Do you agree?
Yeah, the disappointing thing about that is I don't know what he's talking about in terms of white rage either. Let's just talk about rage. We are seeing violence throughout this entire country in all types of communities. I think just a few weeks ago, there were 40 people shot in Chicago. That's rage. What about MS-13 pouring in our borders and other gangs? That's also rage. This is not just predicated to one specific group or one race or one gender. How can we right the ship on rage, generally speaking? But really, what I want to talk about, especially with our military leaders, is the importance of war fighting. If we are dividing ourselves by race and talking about race and teaching that to our soldiers, it's time not spent perfecting our craft to be the best warfighters we can be to protect our nation for the future. That needs to be our only focus. And I'm a West Point guy. My brother's a West Point guy. My sister's a West Point gal. In fact, she went first in our family. There's 60 years worth of military service in our family. And the one thing we never talk about is race. We talk about the man and woman to our left and our right, and what are we going to do our job properly to make sure that we get home safely and make sure that we accomplish the mission that our country gave us to do that has nothing to do with race.
Wesley, we're pretty short on time, but just want to get your reaction. When you look at your time serving in the military, clearly you're very proud of that, as you should be, and we thank you for your service. Look at your time and look at where we see the military now, where we see this woke takeover. What are your thoughts?
Again, the focus has got to be on war fighting and getting the mission done and doing it together. And when you're in a foxhole and when you're getting shot at, nobody cares what your race, religion, color, or creed may be. The only thing that matters is that we are Americans fighting for our nation. That's got to be our sole focus. Wokeness belongs nowhere in our United States military. And when I talk to my classmates and my friends, we don't talk about race. We talk about service. That's what this has got to be about. I hope our generals at the Pentagon get how imperative this is.
Right.
We can go down a very slippery slope if we continue down this path. It's my opinion that in 2022, we have got to take back the House in order to just put a stop and put an end to all of this craziness.
Well, Wesley Hunt, best of luck in your campaign. Sounds like you are from a family of a lot of patriots, the Hunts. Thank you for your time tonight.
Yes. God bless you all. Thank you so much.